Okay, we're David and Denise Renken.
David and I have both been married 3 times. For me, I fantasize that if I cooked, if I cleaned, if I kept myself attractive, if I did all the things that I thought a wife was supposed to be and do, that I would have a happy marriage.
I'd actually modeled most of my expectations on marriage from the sitcoms because I was raised in a pretty rough home. So in order to see what a marriage looked like, I looked at television. So whatever they were projecting on Leave It to Beaver or Father Knows Best, that's kind of what I thought it would be.
My first marriage ended very tragically. The first year we were so focused on working, we're trying to go back to school and having the baby, and then he was born, and that was our whole world. Then the second year, I discovered he was having an affair. He left, went with her, and the marriage ended. And the devastation of that trust being broken, it ripped me apart in a way that I didn't know was possible. And that was tough.
Yeah, the first marriage, we had gotten married very quickly. It was we'd known each other 10 weeks. I was working hard and wasn't a very happy person, basically. My wife, the one that was so attractive whenever I started coming home, was dressed in sweats every day or something else. And my idyllic world really wasn't there. I mean, this dream I had. And we ended up divorcing.
So my first marriage is over, and I am being pursued by husband number 2. And I was hearing something different from this man. I was hearing that he understood the trauma that I had been through, that he would never do something like that to me. And so we ended up marrying. But what I learned after a few years into the marriage was that he was having an affair.
The second marriage lasted for a lot longer, but I had multiple affairs during that relationship, and that was the end of that marriage.
So the marriage has ended, and I'm yet pursued again and marry again. And this man he comes into the marriage and just telling me, I know what you've been through, and I'm willing to give you whatever time you need to heal. For the first time, I was married to a man who was willing to shoulder family responsibilities.
After the second divorce, I called a few friends looking for advice because I was still pretty miserable. And I got the best advice I had, and that was that what I needed to do with my life was be the best godly single man I could be. That instead of looking for what I wanted in relationships, I really needed to look to God, who was the relationship I'd walked away from. That night after that confrontation, I felt like my world was over, and basically cried out to God, and I said, take my life. And I asked him at that time I surrendered control. It was the first time where I really surrendered control to God. I was going to church for maybe 3 or 4 months, and I began to date, and pretty soon we ended up getting married. But this time that marriage wasn't based on what she could do for me or what I could do for her, and I wanted to make God the centerpiece of our marriage. All 3 times I was married to the same person.
That's right. We've been married 3 times to each other. Wow. David and I went through REEngage as a couple.
And the REEngage program took God's word, took his plan for our marriage, and made it simple so that we could understand.
And then we're now in the process of facilitating our 3rd couple. Every time we go through that, it takes us another step forward.
I tell you, the joy that I've had, I wouldn't trade it for the world. There's nothing too big that God can't handle.